Hey everyone, welcome to Small Talk Sundays, where I just use some small talk on Sundays and then upload the video at a very inopportune time on Monday. So, that took me a few tries to do. But anyways, I hope you all have had a great Mother's Day and hope things went well throughout the day and hope, just things went alright. I myself spent a vast majority of my day doing just that. So, yeah, here I am recording at actually literally midnight. And seeing if I can get this out in time without having to be an absolute slog for the rest of tomorrow. So, yeah, I hope everything's been doing great, and I hope you all have been doing swell. So, last week I mentioned something about a Q&A that I'd answer this time around, and I feel like doing that type of something different this time around. And I don't know how many times I'm going to say time around, but anyways, that's the plan for this one. So the majority of the Small Talk Sunday is just going to be replying to comments in a verbal manner. So that is how it is. And yes, I realize that the video is not up yet, and I don't like that it's somehow just turned into a Monday upload, and this time I don't even know if it's going to make it on Monday, because I still haven't done the outro or intro yet. Playthrough itself is edited through, but outro and intro, not done yet, and I don't know how long that's going to take me. It's probably too long, if that's the answer. And before I dwell on it too much, it's probably the same shtick of me just feeling absolutely terrible about myself and my own speed on things, but I'm not going to beat that dead horse any further than it's already been beaten. So anyways, I'm going to get right on to the questions. But just a word of foreknown, I would like to mention that I am only going to be responding to comments that are specifically asking a question that I have left hanging for the past week for the sake of the video. Which, by the way, I will have to apologize for the wait. And if I don't reply to your video after this video is uploaded, at some decent time after it's uploaded, because I'm probably going to go to bed immediately after it's uploaded, but I will go back to the previous Small Talk Sunday and just reply to all of you in text form to those who have not answered in this video. So with that, this little disclaimer out of the way, wait, it's not done yet. There is a certain person who mentioned a fix for the question if people are feeling comfortable with a shout out or not. Because I failed to identify it at the time, I'm going to say it now. ReaverPrime specifically mentioned that easy fix for the shoutouts. Anyone that is okay with it, just have them add QA or SO for question, answer, or shoutout. That way you can easily sift through them. I like this idea. That would be very helpful. And to those of you who don't include that, in case they don't want to get verbally answered in a scenario where I do this again, I might just go ahead and go that route, but for now, I think I'm going to go the traditional route where I just kind of read out the names as is, and we'll see how that goes. Now, with all that said and done out of the way, let's go ahead and get on to what everyone's been asking me about, and I will be reading these from oldest to newest. So, first and foremost, we have Hrafnbrand, who says, a Q&A, you say? That sounds fantastic. If I may take the opportunity, how far through the story are you at the time of this video? I understand the editing process can end up delaying things, so I'm mostly curious if the videos are basically concurrent with your experience. Well, currently, at the time of the video in which the question was asked, I had just picked up the quest to go into the Katana Ravel. And at the moment in time I'm recording this video, I have completed the Katana Ravel all the way up to where I'm going to assume the video in which I do that duty at, where that video will end. All the way up to then is where I am currently. So basically then the video after the next one is going to get uploaded. So yeah, that's where it is. So it's really freaking close right now. So hopefully that suffices to answer that question. The next one is by Obsidian, who mentions, it's crazy how much PvP you play. I know. I've been around since 2.0, and I think you play more PvP than I ever have. Yeah, but jokes aside, I like the Q&A idea. So towards that, probably an odd question, but I only ever think of all the armor. What do you use all the wolf marks you earn on? Currently, I just buy Gray Matter 7, I believe it is called. Yes, I just buy a bunch of Grade 7 Dark Matter, and that's pretty much just guaranteed that I will never really have to pay for any repairs ever, because I am technically an Omni crafter right now, despite the fact that I don't really craft a whole lot. I just use a lot of Grand Company's turn-ins to get to that point. But yeah, wolf marks, I pretty much just exclusively buy Grade 7 Dark Matter at the moment, though if I want to be smart about it, I should buy the armor and desynth it to get valuable items to put on the market board. But I'm not adept enough or inclined enough to go into that research at the moment in time. Though that would probably be more financially intelligent in terms of guild making. And on to the next question. Though they did include quite a bit of other parts into their comments that I will probably respond to in text format, as for the sake of this video, I will get straight to their question. AC3 asks, I guess something I'm wondering on, how would one see about the process of making their own videos, specifically linking up the sound recorded off Discord with video, visuals, or even just stills, or clips of things just taken with the camera. So that's actually quite a lot I can, that's a question that kind of asks quite a lot of information, actually, though I can probably briefly sum up. You're going to need some type of recording device or software. I personally use OBS to record game footage, but if you're going to record like live footage, any camera would do. Camera that you can like hook up to your computer. Got to make sure you have certain storage to be able to put that in, because videos can be pretty lengthy and pretty beefy in size. In terms of like separating different sounds, I use Voicemeeter Banana in particular, which is it's an audio interface that you can hook up different audio outputs and inputs into to be able to modulate and manage each one and funnel them into different channels to work with. There's a bunch of tutorials for each one of these steps, by the way, and I'm just giving a really vague idea of these things. And when you get all that settled in, you should be able to have accurately separated footage utilizing OBS or something. I use OBS because it's free and it works and it's nice. And as for compiling things together, you're going to need like an editing software of a sorts. I personally use Vegas Pro 14, which was given to me by my uncle around half a decade ago-ish, maybe longer. But that is what I've been using. That's what I use to do all the edits and all the videos you've seen me do thus far. So yeah, those are the tools I use, and all of these things have a bunch of tutorials linked to all of them to get them all set and working. So hopefully I can at least introduce that to you in case you're curious on that. So that is a question that goes down quite a deep rabbit hole. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question because I'm running on 10 minutes already. On to the next question. Nibel or Nibel, first off, I want to say thank you for the kind words at the beginning of the comment. Very much. I'm very appreciative. And as for the questions, they have a couple of questions. Their first question is, can I add you? I'd love nothing more than to run dungeons, trials, Palace of the Dead, etc. with you if you're on sometime. I can provide a 10 killer queue. If not, I totally understand not wanting to accept random friend requests. Well, I kind of just accept random friend requests like willy-nilly as is. Not exactly the greatest habit, I think, because, well, there's a certain finite number of people you can have on a friends list, and if I don't know like 80% of them, then there might be a bit of an issue with that. But I do actually just accept random friend requests. But do note that I am rather antisocial and introverted, so I almost never really tell anyone I'm doing anything whatsoever, and I hardly ever talk to anyone. So though you would probably be on the friends list, I probably wouldn't do anything with anyone in particular. So yeah, that's how that's probably gonna go. Just fair forewarning in case you do add me in the future. And the second question is, do you have a favorite music track for dungeons, trials, alliance, raids, zones, etc.? The music is one of my favorite aspects of the game and really helps set and drive the emotional impact of stuff, so I love hearing what people think and love about it. That is a question that is very difficult for me to answer because I have a mix of musical pieces that I like, but it's hard to put them above one another for me because I like them for different reasons, and even then they're still like the names. I don't know the names of them, and at the same time I also try to keep these Small Talk Sunday things spoiler free whenever possible, but it's gonna be kind of hard if I start listing off names. So I'm gonna see if I can look up the names of the particular themes, and I can probably answer somewhat in that sense. But I know there's a few themes that I really like. One of them in particular, let's see the name of it. I only really know it as the Nidhogg theme, but we'll go with that. That's one of my all-time favorites. And another one that rivals it is the Wayward Daughter. Those two are kind of like almost tied, though I do put Nidhogg's a little bit higher. I have not done the Binding Coils yet, and I'm pretty sure there's a theme that pops up at the end there, considering what the freaking like first trailer music is. I haven't heard it all game so far, so there's that. But those two, in terms of the overall like quality and how it's all used and how they use leitmotifs and whatnot, I do like those the most. But outside of those, those are two trials. The alliance raids, Gonna be honest, I have a hard time really remembering the Alliance Raids ones. I haven't really done Alliance Raids, have I? I'm gonna check real quick. I'm gonna be honest, I just don't actually remember the Alliance Raid themes. I can't put them on the top of my head. I can't answer for the Alliance Raids in particular. For zones, do city themes count? If city themes count, then it's probably a mix of the nighttime broom theme and the Crystarium's day theme. If those count, those are currently some of my favorites. Oh, and Amarang's day theme so far, from my knowledge. Those are like some of my favorites that I've heard in terms of that. But outside of that, there's also a couple of themes that only play in cutscenes. One of them is like Under a Starry Night Sky or something, or a Starlit Sky. I forgot the name of it, but it's a tie between that one and another one that I had to go into dangerous spoiler territory in order to actually acquire for a certain video. It's called Tomorrow and Tomorrow, I believe it's called. And I don't recommend anyone to look that up because there's a chance on like spoiling yourself if you haven't gone through this story already, for the sake of avoiding spoilers. Those would probably be the pieces of music I will list high from the top of my head, though I have a feeling I'm forgetting some pieces of music that I probably also like highly enjoy. But yeah, from the top of my head, those are the ones that like kind of ring out the furthest. And the Stormblood's anthem theme got better for me after I beat the MSQ because of certain due to some undertones regarding its involvement and evolution. So yeah, that's a little bit of an extended answer for that. But again, yeah, that's a difficult question for me to answer because I do like music in general and I listen to different music for different reasons and they all fit their niche in different ways. So yeah, so with that question out of the way, let's move on to the next. Man, this is gonna be a freaking long one. ReckitRyan asks, what's your favorite job so far in Final Fantasy 14? Sorry if you have already got a lot of these questions. Also, I'm fine with whatever when it comes to saying my name. No need to be sorry. But my favorite job in Final Fantasy 14 so far is Red Mage. Though that probably is not a big surprise from what I've gathered from people, because it seems like Red Mage is kind of a bit of a favorite from what I've gathered. It seems to flow real nicely, and I heard that it's also Yoshi P's favorite. So, like, I guess there's that too. But I really like Red Mage. So I know I kind of like kicked around Red Mage a little bit in a previous Small Talk Sunday in terms of its like overall usage in PvP. But it is one of the jobs I do try to get to work the most, and it's the one I play the most. That is my home job. So yes, Red Mage is by far my favorite out of all of them. On to the next question. Xander501st asks, well, for QA thing, have you done any of the old 8-man raids yet? Specifically the Binding Coil, as it kind of resolves a big plot point from ARR, and the story is nice. I kind of already mentioned this, but I did not do the Binding Coils of Bahamut, but I did do a few of the 8-man raid things, but as kind of solo. I've done the Alexander raids all the way up to the Burden of the Sun, but that was kind of a duo with the my friend you see sometimes in the MSQ videos. And I also have done all the Delta Scapes and just the first Sigma Scape in terms of the Stormblood normal raids. I haven't touched anything else. Those are the only things I've done. I don't know if those are 8-man raids. They're probably 8-man raids, maybe somewhere along those lines. I've done like the Binding Coil Bahamut all the way up to turn 4. From what I gather, there's 12 of those things, so yeah. I've done the introductory parts of it, but didn't go much further than that. Going on to the next question, Cain Pollard asks, I like the Q&A idea. I have similar problems keeping myself on track, so I think it'd be helpful. If I were to ask anything, though, it'd be if you intend to cover the raids and optional bosses once you're done with the MSQ. I think it'd be neat watching you experience them for the first time. Well, considering I already experienced a good chunk of them for the first time already, it's gonna be hard to get the first time reactions like on spot, but I could do something like the Unscripted Thoughts where I just kind of like retroactively just remember my first experience and try to do some form of recreation. I don't know. Regarding the Unscripted Thoughts thing, that video is more so Realm Reborn in a nutshell or something, or ARR like shortened up, abridged, what have you, rather than Unscripted Thoughts. Like some people pointed it out, but that Unscripted Thoughts is like, that's not what it is. It's just pretty much Realm Reborn in a nutshell. I should probably redo it, but it's so ingrained in the series. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. But yes, I could probably do that. But the raids and optional bosses, there is a decent portion of those I have not experienced yet, so I could do that in the future. But for the ones I've already experienced, I could do one of the a retroactive take on it and do a review like thing. So I could do that. Currently, I'm really focused on the MSQ stuff, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Going on to the next question, SticktheFigure asks, Final Fantasy XIV has a lot of highs and lows, so it can be hard to keep every part of it in mind. But is there any moment that you find yourself thinking back on even when you aren't playing? Be it a quest, story, fight, mechanic, song, or anything else? Not super necessarily, like probably the big dragon boss in Heaven's Word. I don't want to like drop names because anti-spoiler things. I also like the first impressions of the Home Edge Switch final boss. That was quite a doozy to do. There's that one character in Shadowbringers that I did a montage for in one of those intros. Honestly, it's kind of an out of sight, out of mind type of deal because short-term memory things. But if there's any song that tends to like to keep propping up inside my head, it's probably High Treason. For some reason, that song keeps like getting put in my head every now and then. That one, and I think Tomorrow and Tomorrow is the name of it. Because I'm kind of weird in that the music I like to listen to is usually really like emotional and probably what people would call depressing music. But my favorite type of music do tend to lean on that side. Like if it gets an emotional response out of me, that gets put onto my list of my favorite pieces of music. Because if a piece of music fails to invoke a certain emotional response to me, then it has failed as a emotional piece of music, or an art form in general, actually. So yeah, if it gets an emotional response out of me, that it gets put on my personal, like some of my favorites. So like Tomorrow and Tomorrow is probably like high up there on my favorite list. And it's probably one of the ones that gets stuck in my head. I do not recommend anyone looking it up because in order for me to find that piece of music to use in the montage, I got into really freaking scary, close to spoiler territory. I had to kind of close my eyes while surfing that part of the web, in a sense, to avoid spoilers. I had to be real quick about it. If anything, it's probably just the music. Just the music. In terms of fight mechanics, no. Gameplay mechanics are just kind of gameplay mechanics. Nothing like too big have made such a huge impact on me for me to remember it when I'm not playing the game. As for the story, probably just the very pivotal moment at the very end of the Realm Reborn post patches. That one, and the first time you meet the fellas of darkness. I'm trying to keep it vague here. Those moments and the realization of certain lyrics of a certain anthem being hijacked. Yeah, so basically just those. Man, these are kind of like hard for me to answer. I'm just taking some serious time just thinking about these. Honestly, it's mostly the out of sight, out of mind thing because I'm also trying to avoid spoilers. So I don't know. Like when it comes down to it, I probably have to say big dragon fight in Heaven's Word. Big thing that happens at the end of Realm Reborn post patches. The first time meeting the Fellows of Darkness. A certain character I made a montage for in quote unquote recent times. The big dragon fight music, the High Treason and Tomorrow theme. Honestly, those are pretty much it when it comes to in terms of out of that list. Everything else I just can't quite remember too well at the moment. It'll probably come out later after answering the question, but yeah, that's about it. Gosh, I rambled on that for too long. Alright, so going on to the next question, BH5432 asks, what do you think is a good job to solo Palace of the Dead? And could you go into detail on the process of actually doing the soloing? You could honestly make a whole video on this as there is so much info. This is true. That is, going into detail, I won't go on here now, but if I'm going to just give a rough gist, I'm going to have to say Red Mage and Machinist. Machinist currently the meta to go from what I've noticed on the scoreboards, because all of them on the scoreboard have cleared floor 200. I don't know what Machinist is doing, but it's freaking flying through Palace of the Dead. And as to go into detail, I believe there's someone named Breaky who made a really detailed guide for each floor. There's some information out there that's a little off from what I've gathered, but I do recommend looking up Breaky's guide for Palace of the Dead. I believe there's a Reddit post out there involving that because that's what I've been using. And also, my friend has mostly been doing a bunch of the research and studying the different nuances with Palace of the Dead, and if anything, they probably be the better go-to as to how to solo Palace of the Dead than I have, even though none of us have really done it yet, though we're very much trying on a daily basis. But yeah, there could be a video, but I don't know if it'd be by me. We'll see what happens in the end, though. The next question on the list is by Kottery, and they ask, since you play PvP more than most folks do, have you considered doing a PvP beginner's guide intro of sorts to hopefully push more people into the mode? Yes, that's actually one of the things I wanted to do, and that's actually the video I wanted to do right after the Final Fantasy XIV unscript first impressions to PvP. The WoW nerd, you get it. After I did that, I wanted to make a guide, but I just got stuck doing the unscripted thoughts for a freaking eternity, and I was going through like some type of existential crisis, and saying, you know what, I'm just gonna do the freaking playthrough thing, because that's something I've been wanting to do since freaking day one of me starting YouTube, doing playthroughs of story related content. So I jumped onto that, but I do actually wish I could like help put out some guides out there to help things out, because I have I am a little bit of an experimentalist when it comes to learning new things, but I'm nowhere near the best, so I feel like I'm not too qualified for the position to be giving advanced tips or what. But you did say beginner's guide, so I feel like I could do that. And I have been routinely being high in the damage or healing of every frontline I do. You're not always the top, but sometimes I do hit top, but I've been doing rather well in that regard. So on frontlines, that is my specialty. Feast is something I'm still struggling with, but I have general ideas as to how things work. Just put it into practice is the hard part. But yes, I always have planned to do that, but unfortunately it's probably gonna be on hold until I get this MSQ run all done and finished. And considering the pace of things, as some people have mentioned, it's probably gonna be Endwalker by the time I finally catch up, if not afterwards. So I'm really hoping to be able to like eventually super speed through the MSQ. And when I say super speed, I'm going to go at my own pace when I do record it. It's just I only record at specific times during the day and whenever I'm feeling up for the mood to record, if I'm not editing. And that if I'm not editing is a really big part of it, because I'm usually editing quite a lot, and I hate how slow I am with these things. But that's a freaking thing I've beaten to half to death over time. But yes, after I'm done with this MSQ stuff, then the gates are open as to all the different things I can make. But this is my main focus right now, so any and all projects I have in mind in the future will be on hold until the MSQ playthrough is finished. So with that said, I'm going to move on to the next question. The next question is by MrDfrose. They say, always enjoy the videos, Luke Cron. Hey, thank you very much. And here's a softball question for you. What's your favorite music tracks in Final Fantasy 14 that you have run into so far in your playthrough? I've technically already answered this question earlier. If I'm going to be honest, it's probably going to be Tomorrow and the Big Dragon theme. If I'm going to be honest, like a mix of those two. I really like the Crystarium and the Nighttime Broom theme as well. Those are all kind of my favorite themes that I've heard so far. But if I'm going to put like a default first place, it's probably going to be like the Final Fantasy main theme. That's always been my favorite piece of music of all time. I just love the main theme of Final Fantasy. Just loved it, so that's probably going to be default number one. But aside from those, for Final Fantasy 14 specific stuff, it'd probably be those four-ish. I'm going to probably have to go into more thought on this, but from the top of my head, it's probably going to be those. So with that question answered, we're going to move on to the next one. Neflarion Shadowflame asks, what are your predictions of what you think will happen during the rest of 5.0, and what do you think will happen in the post-patches? This is going to probably go into spoiler content, so editing me is probably going to have to like come in with extra commentary and put up spoiler warnings, which will happen now. Alright, so here's editing me doing a bit of a spoiler warning. What I say is actually rather mild and still kind of vague, but if you still want to skip it, go ahead and go to the timestamp on the video right now, or if you're on the phone, quickly tap the right side of the video 13, 14, or 15 times. Any one of those would work. But for the sake of trying to keep it spoiler free, I will try my best to keep it vague. I think Shadowbringers is gonna be based on walking the gray line, like the line between light and dark, so we're probably going to be making enemies on both sides of the spectrum. We were spending most of the story on the light side, and then now we're going to pendulum over to the dark side, and then we're probably going to start slowly settling down to the middle, based on what things we will discover. So we're probably going to be making enemies on both sides. That's probably going to be the thing that happens. In terms of specifics, oh gosh, I should probably do a separate video as to like certain assumptions on this stuff, because this is hard to like keep spoiler free as much as possible. But in terms of specifics, we'll probably have to deal with some political aftermath. There's probably going to be some riots and rebellions on different fronts. Probably going to be some loose ends that pop up out of nowhere. Probably going to have to go through another feast drama again. It always happens at a feast. And we'll probably go back and resolve the rest of the Garlean War thing, because it keeps doing flashbacks to that place. Not sure why. Outside of the fact we're probably just going to go back to it eventually. So there's that. I'm not too sure exactly what's going to happen in between. and I just hope everyone makes it through. Like at this point, I just hope all of the asylums make it through. That's all I'm asking right now. That is all I'm asking. It's just kind of unnerving because I'm noticing quite a few of them are getting rather attached to their certain circumstances and their environments, and it's kind of weird to kind of think about that some of them have been more familiar with this world than they have with our character, because they've been there for years, and they've only known us for like what, 8 years, if even, maybe a couple. Yeah, probably more than that if we're going by the expansion release dates. I'm not sure. I'm not going to go into that because I haven't done enough research. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm estimating is probably going to happen. So with that said, I think that's going to conclude my answer for now. I know it's not a super detailed one, but again, I am trying to keep these things as spoiler free as I possibly can. And hopefully that suffices in some capacity. I'll probably give a more detailed response in text form, but we'll see. So with all that said, we're going to go to the next question, which is by moodudable. It's fun. And they say, you seem to be super sensitive to sounds and stuff. What's your background? And may I ask, is YouTube a job or a hobby? My background professionally consists of stocking shells, packing bags, and working on an assembly line making taillights. That is my professional experience, and my educational experience is an associate's in art specializing in music. Yes, it's not a joke. Stop laughing. But yeah, that is my experience, and no, I haven't taken any classes in terms of like mixing or being very particular to any like sound, like waves or sound qualities or EQing at all. I just kind of developed that because I was getting sick and tired of listening to other YouTube videos. Now I have to go up and down in volume all the freaking time in the middle of the video, and it was annoying the crap out of me. So if that's happening in current videos, please let me know, and I will try to compress it a little better or normalize it a little better to where it's not so varied all over the place. And I do realize the sound balance is kind of off in terms of like voices and even my commentary and the gameplay. So I kind of sucked in that regard, so I apologize for that. But yeah, that is my background. And as for is YouTube a job or a hobby? I'm just gonna say that I hope YouTube gets to the point where it can replace the job adequately. So that's my answer to that. So it's kind of is a hobby, but not really at the same time with the current relationship of it. So take that as you will. But I think that's about how I'm going to answer that one. Alright, so with that out of the way, going on to the next one is my Boomasaur. I have a question. Why are you so awesome? And to that I say, you're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking. But no, really, actually, Boomasaur is one of the few, if not only, reasons that I've actually enjoyed World of Warcraft PvP in any extent in, like, quote-unquote recent times. It's the only one that gave my Demonology Warlock a chance to do a 2v2 arena. So I managed to get like 2-3-9-9 rating in 2s, I think. And yeah, it was some good times. I've got a lot of respect for them for giving me a chance in that field. And with that said, I think we're going to move on to, I believe the final question is by Rach Collett, who is asking, can you do more WoW PvP vids? They're awesome and I miss them. And I don't know. I'd have to like get back into the WoW thing. Even though my profile picture is still my World of Warcraft Warlock, I'm pretty sure a vast majority of the viewer base of my channel is Final Fantasy 14 based, and I don't know if YouTube's gonna start doing weird things and start slamming me if I do World of Warcraft stuff again. Because as I said with the other question, I want to get to the point where YouTube can adequately fit a financial income to be classified as a proper job. So I kind of got to think in that regard, but I maybe, but I don't think the Final Fantasy 14 community is going to really take too kindly to that, because I don't know, I feel like there is like some slight bit of, I don't want to say animosity towards WoW, but it's just like there's a strong preference of just rather playing Final Fantasy 14 over WoW, because Blizzard is not the most likable company nowadays, or Activision Blizzard, I should say. So, as much as it would be to go down memory lane, I don't know if I would. And even then, it still falls under the same restriction as all my other content ideas I've had in mind. So it's gonna have to wait until after the MSQ videos are done for me to even consider doing one of those. So even then, I'm not sure if I will. I might, maybe further down the line, but again, I gotta hurry up with the MSQ thing if I'm gonna ever get anything else out. So yeah, that's about my answer to that question. And with that said, I have officially reached the 40-minute mark in this recording. I don't know how much I'm going to trim down in this, but I've been talking for the past 40 minutes. No, actually longer, because I had to take some pauses and retake my babbling a few times. So with all that said and done, yeah, that's going to conclude today's Small Talk Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to do another Q&A for the next time around, because this proved to be way longer than I thought it'd be, and my answers were way lengthier than I thought they'd be as well. So I'm not sure if I'll be doing another Q&A, but I might do some stuff in the future, and if so, maybe you can just type in a Q&A in your comment and asking if you'd like that to be responded in the next Small Talk Sunday, and I'll probably get around to it if I do see it and remember it. But I'm not planning on the next week to be a Q&A. Just I'll probably just talk about my usual stuff then, which I don't know what I talk about, so probably Q&A stuff again. But really. But hey, thank you very much to everyone who's left the question that for me to respond to, because without you folks, this type of stuff, this particular video and what I talked about would not have happened. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to go ahead and ask a question and whatnot. And for everyone else who left a comment, thank you very much. And I will be going back to respond to you in some fashion or form when I get up in the morning after this thing's upload. So yes, thank you very much everyone who's taking the time out of the day to comment on these videos, and thank you very much just for watching the video as well, watching and or listening. Really, it does warm my heart to hear to see that so many people take the time out of their day to listen to what I have to say on this corner of the world. So thank you very much once again for giving me the time of day. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up. Thank you very much for watching and or listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful life, and don't click links. Alright, take care folks.